Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session, another amazing interview which we are going to have. And I'm just going to wait for a couple of minutes while people join in. Just a few minutes. So, warm welcome, everyone. Quickly tag your friends because today we have another very interesting discussion which we're going to have with this amazing guest we have today online. And before I welcome the guest, to you and online. A warm welcome once again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shruti Clarence. I'm an image coach, a soft skills trainer, a pageant crewman, organizer, as well as been in the airlines and corporate for about 20 years. I'm also India's very first Mrs. Universe Confident title winner. And today's guest on this series of employability, we are going to talk about yet another very interesting zone and a segment which not many women, traverse. They don't really. Uh, I've seen very few women in that segment. Okay, but today's guest is one woman who took that chance and who, stepped into this zone where not many women step into. So I'm going to introduce today's guest, and that is Vidya Chavan. She's a chartered engineer, mechanical engineer, and that is exactly what I was telling you. We're going to hear a lot from her about all of this. Uh, she's also president of Engineers Without Borders at the Pune chapter, and we are going to hear a lot more from her. She's been part of many prestigious projects such as the INS Arihant and Airbus A380 and Tesla, etc., etc. We are going to hear so much from this dynamic young woman. Let us welcome Vidya to our segment, Employability Skills. Good evening, Vidya.
Good evening, Shruti, and thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting me to talk to all of you. Thank you, and
Thank
thanks for
you.
the introduction.
That was a short one, Vidya. We would love to hear more about you and your entire journey. So tell us more than what I've just spoken. That's just the tip of the iceberg, Vidya.
Okay, so as Shruti mentioned, I'm a mechanical engineer. I studied mechanical engineering. I still work as a mechanical engineer. Even when there were opportunities to move into the IT sector, which is quote unquote high paying, good for females, all sort of things. Within mechanical, I am into construction. So again, that's a field where you will not see a lot of females. But it's an interesting field, and I don't know why females do not join that particular segment or this particular work profile. So uh, you have mentioned few of the projects. The INS Arihant, I had been really fortunate to be part of it. Airbus A380, when it was launched, there were few design teams, and I was one of them. I also had a chance to work on the Tesla charging network for the US, of course, not outside the US. But those projects, they have kind of defined me as a professional. So, yeah, it had been a wonderful journey of last 20 odd years. It's wonderful, and it's a long way to go in the same field, same sector. So I expect myself to grow in the same line.
So going forward, I would love you to talk about these projects a little more, Vidya. But before that, and you could add on. Before that, how did you think about getting into this field? Engineering. First of all, we've seen a lot of these movies and read a lot of these Chetan Bhagat books where he talks about very few women in the IT or in the this kind of segment earlier. And this when I spoke with you, it just sounded so much like one of the books that I've read of Chetan Bhagat, where you have just one female in a classroom of entire boys. So how did you think about getting into this?
Well, just one female in the classroom of entire boys, that's not the truth. Let me be very frank and honest. There
So,
were 15 girls out of 70 boys in at least the class that I studied during my engineering. How did I got into engineering? Maybe if you remember the decade of 90s,
hmm,
education system is built in such a way that you are either a doctor or an engineer or you're a loser. Since I was not willing to be a doctor or loser, I chose to be an engineer. But later on, when I entered engineering, especially mechanical, I saw that I loved this stream. I loved creating things, and I loved seeing them function in front of my eyes. So it gives me a natural high when I see the projects that were designed by me, or I was part of those projects in some way or the other, being functional and people using them. I actually celebrated when INS Arihant was launched. We had a
so
small celebration at home, even though I was not part of that project at that point in time. So it's a joy of creation. I think that's a very much feminine thing, and engineering gives you that, no matter what kind of engineering you get into. And I just loved it. That's how I got into engineering. There is a small story about how I got into mechanical engineering, and it's interesting how your family supports you. So, my father is a retired police officer, and when I told him that I want to be an engineer and I want to be a mechanical engineer, so he was
hmm.
like, "Are you sure you are going to sit with those boys tightening nuts and bolts?" I told him, "Is that all the mechanical engineers do?" Then I have a cousin, and I had few, we call them dadas in the society, elder ones. So I talked to them, all boys. Of course, there was not a single girl, and I'm the first one to be an engineer even from my family. So I had very little to look up to. But then all of them, they told me, hey, it's not that, you cannot do it. असं काहीच नाही की जे तू करू शकणार नाहीस. You are very much fit for the job. And then I got admission to the college which I always dreamt of going to, and that's where it all happened. That's where it
Okay.
all started.
Amazing. So yes, that was a decade where we saw a lot of changes that we knew are going to happen, and yes, of course. And when you said A380, coming from the aviation zone for like 20 years, that's so close to my heart. And so tell us more about the projects that you handled, and how did that come about? What was your experience?
Okay. Let me start with INS Arihant because that was my first encounter with the corporate world. I got into that company, the company called L&T, Larsen& and Toubro. It's a huge conglomerate.
Correct.
Right out of the college, and the quote unquote condition for that project was you have to be very good in your studies, which meant a lot of statistics and a lot of emphasis was placed on where you stand in terms of your class rankings and all. So, and the HR believed that I'm smart enough to enter that department, and that's how I got into there. My first boss was a retired naval commander, and let me just narrate you one incident which kind of shaped me as a professional, or that was the beginning. So there were three girls. As I said, it's not always that you are the only female in the entire class.
Right.
And there is a valid reason because girls study a lot, and that's how they end up being on in the topmost slots of the class as far
Of
as
course.
marks are concerned. So that's how we had four girls, three alongside me in the same department. And being a typical corporate and again a construction kind of a setup, someone aired at one of the other girls. And the poor girl, she started crying because I'm sure no one had aired at her in her entire life till that point.
Mhm.
And it went to our boss, and he was like, no, no, we should teach the guys to be soft with the females, and it's not the way they're supposed to behave and all. And my boss made a statement which was very very profound, like लड़की होगी घर पे. Here she is a professional. The
Yeah,
moment
well,
you swipe your card and enter the
so
premises, enter your office, you're no more a female or a male. You are just a professional. You are expected to give exactly the same amount of work, exactly
absolutely.
the same amount of dedication any of your male counterpart or any of your male colleague is giving. And Later on, during one of our one-to-one meetings, we have those typical, year-end performance review meetings. He
Right.
told me very, very fondly, and he literally, his kids were my age at that point in time, so he was that senior, and he said, "Beta, if you want to succeed in your career, especially when you are in this field, and if you don't plan to change, if you like doing what you're doing, remember one thing. तू तुझ्या बाई होण्याचं भांडवल करू नकोस जग तुझ्या बाई असण्याचा फायदा घेणार नाही डोंट मेक अ ह्यूज अँड क्राईज अबाउट यू बिंग अ फिमेल बी अ थरो प्रोफेशनल and that's how it has went. That advice is still it is still staying with me. It is helping me. Whenever there are talks and hues and cries about diversion, equality, inclusion, and we talk a lot about gender equality,
Yes. Yes.
why we are not having a lot of females in the workplace. Um, a lot of onus lies on us as females as well. Uh,
Absolutely.
that's my thought. It might be a little bit harsh, but yeah, it's something that we as females need to take care of. I saw Sheryl Sandberg speaking exactly the on the same lines in LinkedIn. That came almost 15 years after I got that advice from my first boss. So
Wow. And
uh,
yes, go on.
yeah, and a lot has. I mean, it hasn't changed a lot, but definitely a lot of onus lies on us as females.
So I was just agreeing with what you were saying, because it is so apt. On one hand, we are talking about gender equality and all of the other stuff, and on the other hand, we want to throw that trump card saying that, oh, I'm a girl and I'm just a girl, so you know we need a little bit of leeway. But this is such a lovely learning, कि अगर आप उस जोन में उस रेस में उतरे हो तो सब एक साथ एक जैसे ही है. And as a professional, if we look at it that way, I think women just break that glass ceiling. I won't even say sky is the limit, just break that glass ceiling. So, and so very apt in your case as well, because you've done exactly that, stepping into a zone where not many women really would think of stepping into. And while we talk about all of this, Vidya, I'm sure there have been challenges. So if you could just tell us what were the challenges that you went through while you were in this.
A lot of challenges. Shruti, there was initially a lot of resistance towards accepting females in the group. In spite of we being four of us in a department of 50, that makes us approximately 10% of the entire crew. But
Hmm.
there was still a little bit of hesitance, a little bit of resistance. There were places where people used to just refuse to, give something to us. One such thing was we had the headquarters in Delhi, and I remember my boss's boss saying, "None of the girls will go to Delhi." He had some conceptions in his own mind that Delhi is not safe for girls, and I don't want to risk sending any of my girls in that risk zone. So there will be these kind of challenges. There will be challenges wherein it is just impossible for you to be there just because you're a female. Uh, my counterpart can stay on the construction site overnight, and
Hmm.
he may not fear about his safety. Uh, Same kind of fearlessness my organization cannot show for me. They have to definitely think about those things, because even if
Right.
we say that as professionals we are equal at the workplace, it may not be the same thing for the outside world. For the outside world, a female is a female and a male is a male. So they definitely fear for the safety. That's one of the challenge. The biggest challenge I would say that I had been a very very soft spoken kind of a person, and I was very much a shared kind of a person. It's like the way we are brought up. आपल्या कामाशी काम ठेवायचं. So
Hmm.
you're just focused on your work. You're doing your work and then moving out. And then I realized that there were instances where people were taking a lot of credit for the work that I did, only because I wasn't speaking for myself and I did
Hmm.
not have any advocate who could speak for me. Um, it came very harshly on me when someone, on my face, that person told my boss's boss, ki, see this, I have done it. And fortunate enough, my boss's boss was, he was smart enough to understand ki, if he's showing it on her screen, he has definitely not done it. So then he
Right.
started asking some counter questions, and then he got answers from me. And after that particular incident, he called me to his cabin. He said, "I want to talk to you." I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't made any mistake. Why is he calling me?" Because he's not a person who talks to me very frequently. And then he told me, "You should not let this happen." I was like,
Mm.
"What?" Then don't allow people to take credit of your work. You have to blow your own trumpet, and that's very, very required, because there is no one who will speak for you. And if you are typically in a male dominated field, uh, guys, they hang out a lot, they go for a smoke, they go for drinks together, they have those weekend parties where
Mm. Mm.
over the weekends we are at home, being with our kids, cleaning the houses, doing the laundry, buying groceries. And all these guys, they are going out for so-called team building parties, and
Right.
they're bonding together, they're sharing a lot of things which we cannot do. We are definitely missing out on all these things, and we need to compensate by being utterly professional, by contributing professionally, and at the same time, call it blowing your own trumpet or call it speaking for yourself, but we need to do that. We just can't depend on the system to talk for ourselves.
True, so true, because it's all about standing for yourself. And so rightly that you said, that, yeah, blowing your own trumpet. But I always tell women that, we are conditioned from childhood के अपने बारे में बात नहीं करनी है, ज़्यादा बात करनी नहीं है, नेकी कर दरिया में डाल, ये सब हम सीखे हुए हैं, you know. And then suddenly when you face the real world, you realize, oh my God, all that I've studied, ये तो सब अभी out of syllabus आ रहा है जो सामने आ रहा है, you know. So it sounds typically like that when you shared the whole thing, that when you go and face the real world, it's just out of the syllabus that you have to face, and then just learn to be assertive and be a communicator for yourself. So, while all of this happened, and you did share that you overcame these things, but anything else that comes to your mind where you sort of overcame all of those challenges? And of course, we can see from your profile that the success that you are, you've definitely overcome a lot.
Shruti, one thing that comes to my mind is I had to be hammered a lot, and I was fortunate enough to have very nice bosses, I would say. I had almost all of them men. This is the first time that I have a female boss. I never had a female boss, and when I talk to her, I feel a lot of similarities between both of us.
Nice.
But they were really kind enough to put me on the right path almost all the time. Be it the pep talk that I received about how not to make hues and cries about being a female and how to be a professional. The two blowing your own trumpet, all those kind of advices I received, and. A very good advice, and this is something which I'm sure a lot of us are hearing these days. There is a word called sponsor. I did not know about this word when I encountered a sponsor. You need someone who is in decision making positions, who can speak for you. And we again, the conditioning comes back. We have been taught not to be not to be a chamcha. That's how the corporate language calls it.
Yeah.
Not to be around your bosses. But believe me, whomsoever I have talked to in the senior positions, even they want people to be around them who are sensible, who can tell them, sir, this is not the way it should be, or this is how I think it should be, who can be honest in putting their voices on the table. And they do admire, because even they need someone who can course correct things. They need someone from the grassroots level who can understand things a little bit better, or who can see the things from from a very, very close lens. So
True.
that's again one thing which I did was I was able to connect with my seniors, not because I was saying, sorry, you're very great and all those things, but because we had the kind of discussions which are very, very essential. Which books you're reading? Or which book you are reading right now? That's one of our favorite questions. Or this is a podcast that I heard yesterday. Would you like to see the link for that? These are the things that I'm doing.
Nice.
On skill building side, and I used to share. I still share a lot of those things with my seniors, and then I receive a lot of advice because it's always to and fro kind of a movement, and uh, what you give is going to come back. So if you're going to give a lot of quality things, the same will reciprocate, be it your seniors, be it your juniors. I mean, I'm talking a lot about seniors, but there is a lot to learn from the juniors as well. There is a concept called reverse mentoring, and I'm learning literally every day from right from my juniors to my 6-year-old niece. So there
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. And as a platform which is very focused on skill enhancement and learning, what you're saying is so very apt because we can learn from so many things and so many people, not just seniors, but like you said, a 6-year-old. Even we get so many lessons from there as well. So a very very nice a thing that you've really again reiterated for our platform as well, because learning should never stop, and that's what we always believe in. And while we're speaking of this, Vidya, uh, when we talk about let's say a USP, so what is that thing that you would associate with Vidya? And I remember you spoke to me at length about project management. So what are those two three things that you feel are you, and that you focus on, and probably something that you would want to leave with our viewers here who would probably be considering this as a career?
Yeah, sure. So, project management as a skill, not as not as a certification or as a
Yeah.
degree, but as a skill, it's very very essential. Uh, I was talking to someone just 2 or 3 days back, and they asked me, "What is it that you're going to talk about the same platform?" I said, "Obviously, I'll talk about project management. मुझे लगता है मुझे और कुछ आता ही नहीं है." But then that is something which we are doing all the time. We are managing one or the other project, be it our kids' studies or be it the Tesla supercharger network in the US. We are dealing with projects all the time, and that's a skill which is a must-have for every professional. Even if you're not willing to go and acquire the certification like I did because it was necessary for my profession,
True.
but it's a good idea to learn it because it tells you how to plan things. It tells you how to assess risks. So whatever we embark ourselves into, it will definitely have a lot of risk associated with it, and it will give you tools and techniques to move through those risks, what to do with those risks, and our mind will start getting into that kind of thought process. So, as I say, once a project manager, always a project manager, and that is something which I'm doing and learning practically every day.
That's very interesting, what you've just told us, as far as that. And definitely, other than this, so we know that you're so passionate about project management, and as a team, we would love to, invite you for a detailed discussion sometime later on this for sure. But iske alawa, when we talk about engineering as a segment. So, is there anything that you want to tell our women viewers? I'm sure there would be some on this platform who are already from this field. So, one would be for them, and two would be for anyone who's considering this as a career option.
One very good platform I would suggest is the Society of Women Engineers. If we have women engineers listening here, I would very strongly encourage them to go ahead and join SWE. It's a platform for women by women, and a lot happens in on that platform, which is very specific to females. And It's a forum to address the issues that females face in their workplaces, be it the compensation parity, because that's an issue which has been brought forth a lot of times, that females are paid less than their male counterparts, and the only reason, again, I believe, is we do not fight for it. Whatever we are given, we just sit with that. Another forum I would strongly recommend is come on board, join Engineers Without Borders, create things, help the society with your domain knowledge, with the engineering knowledge that you have. It is going to help you understand and feel the things at the very very grassroots level. So very recently, we finished construction of a school in a small village around 40-45 kilometers from Pune. I'm a mechanical engineer. I do not understand even ABCD of the civil, and my responsibility was to ensure that the costs are not over. So
Right.
I had to actually literally go and catch hold of the civil engineers in my office and ask them a lot of questions. And in turn, I actually understood. I learned in that 1 month how these projects are being estimated, how the cost estimates goes, how the engineering thought process is behind. I cannot engineer it, but if someone gives me a design and the cost, I can definitely validate it. So it's a new skill set that I have acquired while working for someone else. It's not the thing that I'm being paid for. So I would definitely encourage each one of you to join at least one professional forum, which is aligned with your own profession. There are a lot of professional forum. There is a women's coding network within Pune. A lot of IT professionals, IT females from IT professionals are joining that.
Very
But
nice.
please ensure that you're part of at least one professional forum. If it is more than one, it's definitely beneficial. But you get connected with a lot of like-minded people, and that helps in your own
Absolutely.
growth.
Absolutely. And as Skill Connect as a platform in itself, we believe in doing a lot of this, and the tagline goes as connecting the dots. And that's exactly what we're doing as far as connecting skills, and bridging those gaps in between. Very nice tips that you have given. For the youth who may be considering engineering and this segment as a career, is there, a couple of things that you would like to tell them, the do's and don'ts?
Of course, a lot. The first and foremost thing I would like to tell them, that do not get into engineering just because one of your cousins is an engineer, or you think this is going to pay you well. Get into it if and only if you think you are going to enjoy building things right from scratch, and if that is something which is giving you a high, because if you're not skilled enough to do that, you may end up in something which you're not going to like, which you won't feel a lot about it, and you won't feel passionate about it. And then we see a lot of engineers complaining that, man, where have I stuck? This is not something which I wanted to do. I wanted to play guitar, or I wanted to play, be a musician, be a singer, and I'm stuck in engineering. So get into engineering only if that is something which excites you. Don't be afraid of it being a male dominated field. It's absolutely not. You will have plenty of females when you enter. It looks, although the proportion is definitely very, very less, you will have 10% maximum, but still there will be females, and you don't really need females to grow. As I said, all my bosses except for my current boss were men, very very experienced men, most of them at my father's age, and they have guided me like anything. They had been film philosopher guide at a lot of instances, and they've picked up those small nuances to groom me, to help me understand
Oh, yes.
the world better. So I have just given you one or two incidents, but there are a lot of incidences over the last 20 years where all these men around me have helped me. uh, what will happen in turn if you are with so many men over a large period of time? As my brother says, "Ti purushali hai," which means like she has, she's
Oh, amazing.
thinking like men. And if you are continuously and consistently surrounded by men, again, That's how we have evolved as species, as women and as men. And then I was telling one of my friends, don't even think anything, at the back of your mind. I can read all the galis that you're not speaking loud. So
But that's so heartening to hear, that definitely, in this zone. And I've also had the experience that men give a lot of support in that aspect. So every coin has two sides, and I think here we are seeing this very beautiful side of that coin. And Vidya, while we speak about this, and from the beginning we are saying that a male dominated segment or whatever, but for women, all the women who are listening here, uh, really there's nothing like a male dominated society anymore. Okay. And like I said, just go there, break that glass ceiling. And while we are talking about this, Vidya, uh, how are the opportunities, since we are speaking to a women platform, how are the opportunities for a woman, and what kind of opportunities are there once a person does, let's say, engineering and mechanical? So what are the avenues which are open, and so what are the offings on the plate?
if I have to talk purely about mechanical engineering, it's a sector which is required everywhere. So a mechanical engineer is going to find job no matter what the industry is. Right from food processing to building all these huge infrastructures, we need mechanical engineers all across the spectrum everywhere. And by everywhere, I literally mean everywhere. When Be it a boy, be it a girl, when you join, there is a very high probability that you are going to join as an engineer. You will join an air conditioned office. Very few guys join the shop floor. And I recently heard, not recently, about 2 or 3 years back, I heard in an interview where Mr. Rajiv Bajaj was talking about the assembly line of one of their bikes, and it was 100% manned by females. It was 100% female manned. I mean, the word manned itself comes from
Yeah, from
the notion that it's a man who is going to be there, but that
right.
there are 100% females on that assembly line working on those assemblies.
Uh-huh.
Indian Railways has an assembly line where 100% of the welders are females. And we're talking about engineers who are going to sit almost all the time in the air conditioned offices in front of their PCs. So there is nothing which you cannot do. All you need to do is just prepare your mind to create something. That's something which I would definitely like to emphasize. If you have that passion and zeal for building things from right from scratch, that the sky is the limit. And I had been really fortunate. I must have done some good karma in last birth, so that I got all these opportunities to work with these amazing people, to support all these amazing projects. So
Correct.
yes, sky is the limit. You just don't stop yourself. That's my advice. No one is going to reject you just because you are a female in any of the industries, unless and until it is predominantly or potentially risky for them to hire
Correct.
you. Uh,
Correct.
you may not find a job on the shop floor. That is a little bit difficult even as we speak, and we have to understand the harsh realities of the world. But there are plenty of opportunities as someone who can develop engineer the things, develop the things. And a very minuscule fraction of the engineers go on the shop floors or on the sites to build those things ground up.
Right. And while we're talking about developing, how is this segment for entrepreneurs? So, when we talk about, let's say, corporates or the tie ups that you spoke of earlier, how is it for entrepreneurs?
There are plenty of opportunities as entrepreneurs because again, it's there is absolutely no gender bias when it comes to your product. Your customer is going to look at your product. They are going to look at what you have built.
Correct.
They don't care who is building it. I mean, you look at the medicines that we consume. No one is bothered whether Kiran Majumdar Shaw is building them or someone from Bharat Biotech is building them. As long
Correct.
as the medicine has effect, your customers are happy. So it's your work which has to speak for yourself.
True, true.
I was just to give you or a tangent kind of discussion. Uh, I was in one of the incubation trainings. I don't know how I landed into that, and I just gave an interview. I entered it, and I had a business idea which is more of my dream to work on, and that's how I entered. And then I realized that from the cohort of 30 females, almost all of them were either MBAs or engineers. I was the only person who had a business idea around renewable energy and sustainable energy solutions. Rest, all the females were kind of stuck in clothing, food, cosmetics, education. So it was really disheartening for me to see all those females who were so highly educated, highly trained, and with a lot of experience to finally saying that, okay, I want to sell clothes. I might be an IT engineer, but I want to sell clothes.
Right.
If they are really passionate about that, it's really great that if someone
Definitely, yes,
landed
yes.
into IT by accident and she loves designing the clothes. But if that's not the case, and if you love building IT solutions, or if you love building, as in my case, I would like to build sustainable energy solutions going forward. And I'm working in the, I'm fortunate enough to be working in the same sector as part of my day job.
Hmm.
But if you're really passionate about doing this, go ahead. It just don't stop yourself from entering into all this tech heavy fields just because you're a female. That is not something which your investors or your clients are looking for. They are looking for a product. And if you have a good product, if you have the intelligence and the persistence to build a good product, you have arrived as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely, Vidya, what a point you have brought up here, because as Skillets Foundation, we are now a Section 8 registered company, and very soon there are a lot of segments which are coming up under the MSME, and a lot of opportunities, which many of us, men or women, we don't know that, through the government we have so many options. And all of this, as skillets, we are not just going to take them to the end. It's right from the beginning. So like you said, that you may be very highly qualified, and you may have that viable idea, but then for some reason we just let it go, right? कि नहीं, ये मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. Yeah, there are other voices around us, which encourage us and say, अरे तुझे लगता है कि तू तो, you're a girl, do you think you would be able to take this forward? So right from that stage, is where Skillets Foundation is going to be hand holding. So right from helping you find your life purpose to what is your goal and how do you set your goals with the timelines and how do you go about achieving it, grooming yourself to face the world and going forward. Like I said, a lot of opportunities as far as MSME is concerned. How do you help your that project, your dream project, with funding, if it is required. So all this ABCD is taken care of as Skillets Foundation. And I think that was a point which really struck me when you said that you may have an idea, and it could be just about anything, women, right from making cosmetics, like Vidya said, selling it or whatever. But the core essence that even she said is कि आपको जो दिल से आप चाहते हो, पहले वो खोजना है हमको. I think, just because कि कोई और कर रहा है, even I want to go and do just that very same thing. Maybe your idea would be different. So stick to that. And that is exactly what, as Skillets Foundation, and we recently rolled out that project where we are inviting a lot of entrepreneurs to come on board. While we're talking about entrepreneurs, Vidya, before we close, is there a couple of things that you may want to leave as a piece of advice through your rich journey of 20 years? And at this age, to achieve so much, Vidya, we are really, really happy to have you here speaking to us.
Thanks, Shruti. I don't think so. I'm old enough or mature enough or maybe experienced enough to give any advice. But from my experience, I would definitely suggest just one thing. When you look at your career or when you look at your entrepreneurial journey, maybe don't look at it as a unidirectional flow. uh, Look at it. Let me give an example of a jungle gym that is there in the kids park. So it's not a ladder which you need to climb and you have to push someone who's in front of you, or you have to elbow that person in order to move up. Be it corporate, be it the entrepreneurship or the self-employed. Look at it from a jungle gym kind of a perspective. If you see someone in front of you and you're not able to have a good view, just step aside and find another way to get a good view. That's how that's how I approach my career. This 3 years back, when I moved to a different department, a different division, I had to let go 12 people who were reporting me, and now no one reports to me. A lot of people said, "यार क्या तू पागल हो गई है? नहीं 12 लोग report करते हैं. You're the section head and you're quitting it to be the engineering manager." I mean that's not a person. I mean it wasn't a promotion. It was just a lateral move. But
Correct.
when I entered the department, I got to work with a lot of international clients. I got an incredibly good team. It's a small team. It's growing fast. It's a very agile team, and I'm learning literally one new thing, every day. So even if it means that your next move is not really pushing you up, you can definitely go ahead with that. Just look at a broader picture and think about what exactly you want to see when you're in that spot. Another advice or another question which I ask myself is: have I learned something new, or am I a better version of myself than yesterday? And if the answer is no, just shake yourself, go out, read, listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube videos, whatever you can do, whatever you can think of. But just try to be a better version of yourself than yesterday. As someone said, I heard this in one of those MS Dhoni interviews. Instant success is result of decades of hard work. So it's not something that
Absolutely.
we are not going to arrive on a single day. We need to put a lot of hard work. Men, women are equal. Men have their own challenges because I'm surrounded by a lot of men. I do understand their challenges as well.
Of
It's not all
course.
high theory.
Of course, and such valuable insights, Vidya, that you've given us, and again, reiterating the fact that learning should never stop. Because every day you have something new to learn, and I was just thinking back on something that I read, and it says the capacity to learn is a gift, the ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. So it all depends on the person whether you are making that right choice, because I think learning stops the day you stop breathing. That's the way I look at learning as well. So thank you so much, Vidya. We've really had a lovely time listening to your insights, and the valuable examples that you shared with us, and I'm sure that's a lot of takeaway for a lot of us who are listening in.
Thank you. Thanks, Shruti, and thanks, Mitali, for inviting me here, giving me the opportunity to talk to so many ladies. Believe me, I do not have a lot of them in my life, so I genuinely enjoying this opportunity. Thank you.
So yes, that was a lovely thing to say as we close. But Vidya, thank you so much. I'm sure this is not the end of the ladies that you're going to have, and neither are we going to stop at this one interview, because there's something very interesting you spoke of, and that is project management, and I'm sure we would want to hear a lot about that, what it is, and how, whether can someone make that as a career, or how can one make that as a career, and whether it is just restricted to career, or can you use that for your daily lives. That is something, because as a manager in the corporates, I know that it's really very essential. So we are going to hear more from you, Vidya, in the coming few days. But for today, Thank you so much for sharing through your journey. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Shruti. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And a big thank you from the entire team of Skill Connect and Skillets Foundation. Thank you. So, for everyone, before I end the broadcast, we are going to be back again with another interview in the coming few days, and stay tuned. Lot of lot of insights, lot of such personalities coming and speaking through their experiences to all of us. There's a lot of learning and takeaway, and like I said, even before this, that never stop learning, because life never stops teaching, and that is exactly what as Skill Connect um, we believe in. So keep sharing your thoughts on the group, and see you again on the other side with yet another interview coming up in the couple of few days. Do follow our page for all the updates, daily interesting events and activities and action happening. So see you all soon.